If you would have told 16-year-old me that she would graduate with an exercise science degree and love it so much she would continue on to grad school in a related field, she would look at you like you were insane. Growing up, I was a huge reader and writer. I would tear through books like they were nothing. I'm talking like sometimes multiple books a day. And when I ran out of books, I would beg my parents for money so I could buy more. And I would write embarrassing stories and post them online for everyone to see. And I did not enjoy science or math. I remember my sophomore year of high school, we were about halfway through the semester of chemistry, and I still had to ask what an ion was. And I would come in early before class to talk to my math teacher about things that I didn't understand from the lesson or from the homework. And I'm talking daily coming in early. I was never naturally gifted at science or math, and it might sound a little bit harsh, but my parents would tell me, you're not as naturally smart as some kids, you're gonna have to work a little bit harder to maintain your grades. And I'm actually grateful that they would say this to me because it taught me how to study hard and how to commit myself to something if I wanted to reach an end goal. So, what happened when I got to college? Despite the fact that I loved reading and writing, and I still love them to this day, I knew that I never wanted to make a career out of them. I was really worried that if I tried to become an author, a storyteller, or anything adjacent, I would burn myself out and I would lose interest in these things that I absolutely adore. What I did know is that I wanted to help people. I just had no idea what that was supposed to look like. So, not wanting to go into college undeclared, I just picked sociology because that has things to do with people. And about 2 weeks in, I realized I do not like sociology. And it is not what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Personally, I'm not someone who backs down from an academic challenge. If you look at my page at all you're gonna see is study content and college tips. And because of that, sociology wasn't as challenging or stimulating as I wanted it to be. Some of the things I was working on were really interesting, and I got to take some really interesting courses. I'm looking at you, gender in the economy. But whenever someone would ask me, okay, what are you gonna do with your degree? I did not have an answer. I always figured maybe I could do research or something, but I just knew that making a career out of it probably wouldn't be feasible. Now, the next part gets pretty hazy for me, but I imagine that finding the route to health and exercise science started with Google. I think I was just scrolling through the list of my college's majors when I saw it there in all of its glory. And it's all fine and dandy that health and exercise is something that has really been booming the last couple of years. We've all seen the giant surge in influencers and people working out, and there's more advice out there than I could ever even imagine contributing to. But none of those are really reasons that I was drawn into the major. An unknown fact about me to anyone watching this is that I played competitive volleyball for 8 years. And I spent my entire childhood in a gym. My parents own the only gym in our town. So if this idea of exercise, being healthy, making sure that I had a balanced diet was always an integrated part of my life, why was I still so hesitant to change my major? Seems like all of the pieces are there and yet they were not clicking in my brain. I feel like when people hear health and exercise science, they hear fitness bro major. And honestly, that's exactly what I was hearing as well. I mean, what does a major in health and exercise science look like? 4 years of gym class? I don't know. Turns out, that's not what it's like at all. And thank God for that. I was required to take a small little seminar introducing myself to the major, which was basically just a glorified meeting with me and 5 other kids, taught by 2 academic advisors who were basically there to tell us, this is what you're getting yourself into. And boy, am I glad that that was a requirement. You can imagine that for someone who did not enjoy math and science in high school, finding out I was going to have to take a 1.5 years of chemistry, biomechanics, neuro courses was pretty daunting and extremely nerve-wracking. I remember one of the academic advisors asked us how many bones were in the human body, and I answered correctly, and she told me I should switch and that I would succeed because I knew the answer to one question. And low-key, that boosted my ego because I'm pretty sure that was the thing that made the needle just right over. It's okay to look back on it now, and it's actually a little bit funny to look back on it, but I was terrified that I was going to fail out. Like, I was losing sleep over it. I was journaling about it every single day. Lucky for me, I've kept this journal for all of our entertainment purposes. I don't know why I feel like crap all the time. Lazy, worthless, not enough. It seems like I look around me and everyone else is doing so much better. In sports or clubs or going to hang out with their peers, having jobs, still getting good grades, and doing it all while looking flawless. And what am I doing? Getting up and working out and struggling to study, struggling to pass my classes. Am I wasting my time? Am I getting in my own way? I wish I could hug her. Each time I thought about taking a math or science course, I was taken back to when I was in high school taking trigonometry, and after every single exam, my classmates would ask me if I was bringing the average down on exam scores. Which is like, why were we even talking about our scores? Why do you feel comfortable asking me that? And for some reason, I thought that that would be how I felt in college as well, even though literally no one cares. But despite all of that, all of my feelings that I had towards the major, I decided to go for it anyways. And somewhere along the way, I fell in love with it. It started with basic biology and chemistry, which I wasn't great at by any means, but I found them interesting enough to put in the hours to study and make sure that I could pass my exams. Basically, I was trying to skip through the fluff courses so I could get to the good stuff. And by the good stuff, I mean anatomy, physiology. Surprisingly, those neuro courses I was so scared about. And that is where the itch truly started. And don't get me wrong, it definitely was not easy. I didn't enter the major, love my classes, and then magically become gifted and never have to work hard again. At my core, I was always still that girl in high school who was cramming information in and doing my best to thoroughly understand my subjects. I was still that girl who was learning formulas at her kitchen table, but now it was muscle origin and insertions, physiological processes, getting to work in cadaver labs and memorizing blood supply. And it was hard, but at the end of the day, at the end of the long road that I decided to put myself on, I can also say that it was worth it. These subjects are my passion, and that is a sentence that my high school self could have never comprehended herself saying. I think one of the biggest mistakes that we make as students, and also as humans, is assuming that if something doesn't come naturally to us, that means that we weren't meant to do it. Let me be your living proof that that is not true at all. If you're a student right now wondering if you should switch your major, or if you're just a person trying to decide whether or not they should make a leap into something new, I don't want you to ask yourself whether or not you can do it. I want you to ask yourself that if you in a year, 5 years, 10 years even, would regret not even trying. Every single day, I am so happy that despite all of my fears and somewhat lack of confidence, I decided to take the leap anyways. Because now my life looks completely different than I thought that it would have. And that's in a good way. Now I feel like I have actual direction. By challenging myself to step into other avenues, I now have a life plan for myself. And I just wouldn't have it any other way. I hope that this video was helpful to you, whether or not you're trying to decide to change your major or take a step into a new passion in a new direction. Because even if you don't believe in you, I believe in you. And I hope that you're able to take that push to take that next step.